Hey, Bob Sjogren here again. Listen, I just wanted to let you know that if you have kids or grandkids, we have some great books for them. They were written to help learn in a fun and creative way that life wasn't designed to revolve around them. They are not at the center of the universe. God is. But that's hard to say to a little child, much less for them to understand. So we do it in a fun way using cat and dogs. If you haven't heard the joke we use, it goes like this. A dog says, "You pet me, you feed me, you shelter me, you love me. Oh, you must be God." Whereas a cat says the same thing. "You pet me, you feed me, you shelter me, you love me. Oh, I must be God." Most Christians, quite honestly, act like cats. They think that God is primarily here to serve them, but that's not the case. We are here to serve Him. We should be far more interested in advancing His kingdom than in Him advancing our kingdom. But how do you communicate that to kids? We do it through cartoons. Kids love our cartoon books. We have two of them. The first one is titled 102 Differences Between Cats and Dogs for Kids. I wrote it with my daughter Elise, who was teaching third graders at the time. As a result, half of these cartoons are scenarios found in the home. Half of them are scenarios you'd find in a school system. Here's a sample cartoon. When a cat and dog are asked to take out the trash, a cat whines and says, "You always ask me, can't someone else do it?" Whereas the dog says, "Yes, Mom, I'll do it now." Our second cartoon book is just like it. It's titled 103 Cat and Dog Choices, written by my wife and myself. All the scenarios are different, but it still deals with topics like homework, chores, siblings, grandparents, and much, much more. And these cartoons are actually changing little kids' lives. Listen to this mom's story of how it changed her 6-year-old little daughter's life.
And to say that my daughter's character has changed because of it has been an understatement. It just, as soon as she started reading it, or I started reading it to her, it just clicked in her little 6-year-old mind. She got the whole difference between a cat and a dog and their attitudes. And even after we read the book, there would be like character issues that would just come up throughout the day, and I would just say, "Is that a catitude?" And she would immediately get it, and she would immediately like change her behavior because it made sense to her. So I'm so grateful for this book and this curriculum.
There are two more cartoon books that you might be interested in. Kids love them. They were written by Gerald Robinson. He took our teaching about the glory of God in nature and made a book out of it by showing the amazing things God has done to display His glory. The first is titled, "Because He Liked It, 101 Glimpses of God's Glory in the Animal World." Here's a sample. God made the flying gecko able to jump out of trees and glide. The Draco lizard is even better and can fly the length of 2 football fields. Why did He do that? Because He liked it. After seeing the success of his first book, he made a second, Crocs Eat Rocks. All 4 of these cartoon books are not only in hard copy form, but in black and white so that kids can color them. Also for little kids, we've got I Heard Good News Today. I Heard Good News Today has 93 short 2 to 5 minute stories that kids love. It tells of the expansion of the gospel from Jerusalem to Irian Jaya. It basically shows the chronological and geographical growth of the gospel. When my wife used this with our kids, she had a world map behind her, so our kids basically got world history and world geography. Seeing how successful this book was, Debbie and I gathered stories from around the world and made 2 more in this series. The first is I Heard Good News Today, Big Life. These are true stories that have happened since 2004 inside Asia, where there is much work to be done in spreading the gospel. There are actual stories of terrorists who have come to know the Lord. Teenagers love this book. The next book is I Heard Good News Today, E3. These are amazing stories of a man named Dan Heithusen who has shared the gospel all over the globe using the Evangelique. Kids of all ages love these books, and it gently leads them to join God in what He is doing in making His name famous among the nations. If your kids are into listening, you'll also want our CD called Adventures in Missions. These are true stories as well that I've heard from being on staff with Frontiers for over 20 years. I took all of the best stories I knew and put them in children's form. Read by a professional actor, some moms have told me that this is the only CD their kids will listen to on long trips in the car. There's one final book for kids that you might want to know about. It's called Mr. Kingsleys Big Surprise. It's an allegory and teaches kids the difference between grace and works. It parallels the book, If I'm Saved by Grace, Why Bother with Works? Kids love this book. They follow Layla, a young girl who wants to be an assistant to the man building a brand new theme park. But she has a temper. In the back are questions to ask your child to help them see what each individual person in the story represents. So there you have it. Great books for kids to begin their journey on living for the glory of God. If you are interested in any of them, you can click below and find out more about each book or order them directly. Thanks for showing an interest in the glory of God in kids.